What is up, world? This is BakermanBrad, and I've got another god for you. This time we're going to be taking a look at the Greek god of war, Ares, who in Smite is an anti-tank tank.
Sound the drums of war!
Now as you get started, as always, you've got to go and find out the right build for your characters. And this one, being Ares is a tank, they recommend the reinforced boots. However, I want to say the boots of celerity are going to give you an extreme advantage mid-late game. So I would say get the boots of celerity and just be a little extra careful in the early game. It'll pay off in the long run, I promise. Just try it out. If you really hate it, go back to the reinforced boots. Won't hurt my feelings any. Other than that, grab a couple of mana potions and you're ready to run along and get some fighting done. Now, one of the cool things about Ares is his passive ability, Blessed Presence. This is going to give you an additional 40 magical power points for every aura item that he has completed in his build. So lucky for you, that's all you're going to want to get anyways. Now let's get on to his abilities. Searing Flesh is going to be the first one you want to activate. Fire shoots out of Ares' shield, causing damage in front of him, and the good thing about this ability is that, being an anti-tank, his abilities are designed to do more damage to individuals who have more health. So Guan Yu here will take a lot more damage from Searing Flesh than, say, Sun Wukong. However, you can get both of them at the same time. The next ability I suggest is Shackles. You shoot a chain forward, shackling your enemy, and it continuously damages them as long as it's connected. Now the third ability I'd suggest is Bolster Defenses, and as the name implies, everyone within the area of effect gets a buff to physical and magical damage resistance. But now I have to reveal a couple of secrets about Shackles. When it's connected to an enemy god, you actually steal movement speed from them. Now, that's going to be very helpful when you're trying to track down somebody and get them with Searing Flesh, which would have been helpful right about now. The freaking monkey. I guess I'll just have to burn your friends here. If I would have had the upgraded Boots of Celerity, I probably would have been able to catch him, so, oh well. Now, have you ever used an ability and then wished you could use that ability again right after using it? Well, with Shackles, you can. You can actually shackle up to 3 enemies at a time, stealing movement speed from all 3 of them. Now, however, if a monkey jumps over you and hits you, you're probably still not going to get away. Now, like I said, early game with the Boots of Celerity, you have to be a little extra careful. So be ready to run. One thing you can do is run the other way. Instead of like earlier, you run into the monkey, you run away from the monkey. Also, Bolster Defenses actually reduces crowd control debuffs when you activate it. So right there, you get a little chance of keeping away from those spears right behind you. Good lord. Guan Yu really thinks he can catch me. He really thinks he goes through the tower, he gets chasing to the Phoenix, but he's no, thank you. Now the next item you're going to want to get is the Void Stone. It gives you magical power and magical protection while also giving an aura that reduces magical protection of your enemies. So that is going to be your absolute next favorite item aside from the Boots of Celerity. And now we talk about Ares' ultimate, No Escape. Ares throws chains out to all enemy gods within the area, and after a few seconds pulls all of them towards him, stunning every god that he had connected to the chains. And the duration of the stun increases for every god you have chained in No Escape. Ares may be an anti-tank, but he is still a tank. So whenever you have a friend in need, your job is to go in there and soak up the damage and scare them away. Or also kill them. Now, when they try to run away, another good use of No Escape is letting them not escape. Hook someone on and bring them back to your tower. The thing about No Escape is, if you get caught by it, there literally is no escape, no matter how far away they run. Now don't fret, being a tank doesn't mean that Ares can't kill people. With Searing Flesh and Shackles, you can inflict a lot of damage on your enemies. You may not be the one to kill them, but deep down you know you're the one who did all the heavy lifting. So be ready to rack up a lot of assists with Ares. You're still going to get a lot of kills in the game, especially late game with No Escape and Searing Flesh. But you still have friends that can do a lot of work, and if you don't have any mana, then you might as well let them take care of it. Kind of like Hebo and Hell there. Yeah, they got it. I'm going to go back now. So with that said, let's get into some team fights. When you start that, your goal is to be able to inflict damage while also absorbing damage and keeping people either in fights or away from fights. Perfect example here. You had a situation where it had been 3-on-2. With no escape, you make that 2-on-1. And if you draw someone away, start to burn them up, and find out that their teammates all decide to find you, with Boots of Celerity, you can run away. However, if you catch some enemies and no escape, they can't run away. Granted, Ares versus Ares gets a little monotonous with one person pulling a grip the other person, so I'm going to have to get rid of this Ares, because there can only be one God of War. But he's really making this difficult, trying to run away, get through his little tower here. But the good thing about Ares and the Boots of Celerity, you can actually run through the tower, take on 2 tanks, kill one of those tanks, and then run away to fight another day. Now, I said earlier with no escape that there literally is no escape. Well, that includes when you're backing. I bet he's really pissed at me right now for that. And a little word of advice for anyone fighting Ares. If you get caught by no escape, give in and go towards Ares, because you're not going to really have any chance of doing anything else. But if you're towards him, you could maybe do a little bit of damage to him, kind of like with Hades. If you get caught, go ahead and try to do as much damage to him as you can, kind of a thing. It's your only real chance of doing anything with no escape. Now, you've seen the Gold Fury and the Fire Giant, and you understand the role of the tank in those, but I'm going to use this time to talk about some of the build for Ares. If you notice, I have Sovereignty, which gives you physical protection, and what the hell? Get out of the way. Out of the way. I am too fast for you, move. Thank you. Alright, now, if you notice also I have Stone of Gaia, and this isn't an aura item, but it does give magical protection. And unfortunately, the only aura item that gives magical protection is the Void Stone. So if there is several mages in the other team, you're going to want to get this item instead of another aura item. But if there's a lot of fighters and tanks, you may want to look in getting the Void Blade, which I know only increases physical power, but because of his passive ability, Blessed Presence, it actually gives you both. So this will increase your physical power, magical power, physical resistance, and give you a physical debuff for enemy protection. Another item to consider if you're doing well against your enemies is Gem of Isolation, because no escape would then slow them down if you hit them with it. However, if you're in a fight where it's kind of equally matched, I would suggest getting more physical protection or magical protection depending on what you need. And no tank is truly a tank without being able to absorb that damage. Now, another job about being the tank is initiating. So once you see everyone close together, grab them with no escape and bring them into your buddies. That way you can start racking up the kills. There's 1, 2, 3. I feel that Ares is probably going to be the best tank for initiating that big team fight because of the fact that when you use no escape, you can pull yourself as far back as you can without losing any movement speed, and then bring your enemies to you outside of their tower. Or if you're on the defensive, you can run out, catch all of your opponents, and pull them into your tower teammates, giving you an advantage on defense as well. Now, for the last 2 items, I would suggest Mystical Mark and Rod of Tahuti. However, it kind of is up to you in how things are going for your fight. If you're still taking a lot of damage, I would suggest instead of the Rod of Tahuti to get another aura item so that you can have more defense. Now, other than that, you gotta play around, have some fun with them. So I'm gonna run back over here and help finish off this Minotaur. Don't forget to hit that like button. Take a look at some of the other videos we've got for the gods. And gamers, get to gaming.